The sun shone brightly on the garden. Butterflies fluttered between colorful flowers. Bees buzzed lazily, collecting pollen. But high above, something was changing. The blue sky began to darken at the edges. Large grey clouds gathered, heavy with rain. A cool breeze rustled the leaves, whispering of the coming storm. The garden creatures, used to the sun's warmth, felt a shiver of unease. Ava the ant scurried along the busy ant hill, her tiny legs moving swiftly over the intricate network of tunnels and pathways. She carried a large crumb, much bigger than herself, a testament to her strength and determination. Ava was a hard worker, always eager to help her colony. She took pride in her role, knowing that every small effort contributed to the greater good of the anthill. But today, she felt a knot of worry in her tiny chest. Something was different. Something was wrong. "Ava, a storm is coming. We need to prepare." She tried to communicate her concerns to the other ants, her antennae twitching with urgency. But the other ants were too busy with their own tasks. They were focused on gathering food, building tunnels, and maintaining the anthill. They barely glanced at Ava or the darkening sky. The clouds were growing thicker and darker, a sure sign of the impending storm.
"Don't worry," one of the older ants said dismissively, not even looking up from his work. "It's just a few clouds." He continued to dig, oblivious to the danger that was approaching. Ava knew she couldn't just stand by and do nothing. She had to take action, even if no one else would listen. She began to gather leaves and twigs, creating a makeshift shelter to protect herself and any other ants who might seek refuge. Ava worked tirelessly, her tiny body moving with a sense of purpose and urgency. She knew that every second counted. Slowly, some of the other ants began to notice Ava's efforts. They saw her determination and began to understand the seriousness of the situation. One by one, they joined her, helping to build the shelter and prepare for the storm. The anthill buzzed with a new sense of urgency and cooperation. The storm was getting closer, the wind picking up and the first drops of rain beginning to fall. But Ava and her fellow ants were ready. They huddled together in the shelter, safe from the storm's fury. Ava felt a sense of relief and pride. She had trusted her instincts and taken action, and it had made all the difference. As the storm passed and the sun began to break through the clouds, the ants emerged from their shelter. They were wet and tired, but they were safe. The other ants thanked Ava for her warning and her hard work. They realized that her quick thinking had saved them from disaster. Ava stood tall, her tiny chest swelling with pride. She had made a difference, and her colony was grateful. Together, they began to rebuild the anthill, stronger and more united than ever before. Ava's warning had brought them closer together, and they knew they could face any challenge as long as they worked together.
High above the bustling garden, where flowers bloomed in a riot of colors and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blossoms, Beatrice the songbird perched on a branch, her feathers glistening in the sunlight. She had been watching the ants busily working below, their tiny bodies moving with purpose, each one contributing to the greater good of their colony. Beatrice was curious about the ants. She often wondered how such small creatures could be so organized and efficient. They seemed so small, yet they worked together so well, communicating through touch and scent, each ant knowing its role in the grand scheme of things. As the sky grew darker, Beatrice felt a change in the air. The once bright and cheerful garden was now under the shadow of looming storm clouds. She knew a storm was coming. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves and sending a shiver down her spine. She ruffled her feathers and prepared to take shelter, knowing that the storm could be fierce and unforgiving. But then she heard a tiny voice filled with worry. It was faint, almost drowned out by the rising wind. It was coming from the anthill. The ants were in a state of panic, their orderly lines disrupted by the impending storm. Beatrice watched as the ants scurried around, trying to protect their home from the oncoming deluge. She felt a pang of empathy for the tiny creatures. Determined to help, Beatrice decided to use her song to calm the ants. She took a deep breath and began to sing, her melodious voice cutting through the chaos. The ants paused, their frantic movements slowing as they listened to the soothing notes. Beatrice's song brought a sense of calm and order back to the colony. She continued to sing, her voice rising and falling with the wind, providing a beacon of hope in the storm. Gradually, the ants began to work together again, rebuilding their hill and preparing for the storm. Beatrice's song had given them the strength and courage to face the challenge. Feeling satisfied, Beatrice watched as the ants regained their composure. She knew that her song had made a difference. As the storm passed and the garden returned to its peaceful state, Beatrice felt a sense of accomplishment. She had helped her tiny friends in their time of need. With a final glance at the now calm ant hill, Beatrice spread her wings and soared into the sky, ready for her next adventure. Beatrice hopped down to a lower branch closer to the ant hill. She saw a tiny ant, smaller than a sunflower seed, trying to get the attention of the other ants.
"What's wrong, little one?"
Ava looked up, startled. She had never spoken to a bird before. "Ava, a storm is coming, but no one will listen." Beatrice saw the worry in Ava's tiny eyes.
"Don't worry, I'll help you." Beatrice listened carefully as Ava described the ants' home. The forest was alive with the sounds of nature, but Beatrice focused intently on Ava's words. She had never paid much attention to the ants before, but now she was fascinated by their intricate world. She learned about their tunnels and chambers, their food stores, and their queen. Ava spoke with such passion and detail that Beatrice could almost see the bustling activity within the anthill. The ants were always busy, working together in perfect harmony to ensure the survival of their colony. Ava explained that the rain could flood their home if they didn't prepare. The forest's weather was unpredictable, and a heavy downpour could spell disaster for the ants. Beatrice could sense the urgency in Ava's voice as she described the potential dangers.
Beatrice, with her view from the sky, saw things Ava hadn't noticed. From her vantage point, she could see the layout of the forest and the anthill's position within it. She realized that there were natural elements they could use to protect the ants' home. She pointed out a large leaf that could shield the entrance to the anthill. The leaf was broad and sturdy, and Beatrice knew it could provide excellent cover from the rain. She imagined it acting as a natural umbrella, keeping the entrance dry and safe. She suggested gathering small pebbles to weigh down the leaf and keep it from blowing away in the wind. The pebbles were scattered across the forest floor, and Beatrice thought they would be perfect for anchoring the leaf in place. It was a simple yet effective solution. Together they devised a plan. Beatrice and Ava worked side by side, combining their unique perspectives and skills. The bond between them grew stronger as they collaborated, each contributing their strengths to the task at hand. They knew that by working together they could protect the ant colony from the impending storm. The forest was a place of endless possibilities, and their friendship was just beginning to unfold. Ava and Beatrice worked quickly. Ava rallied a few ants who were willing to listen. They followed Beatrice's instructions, carrying pebbles and twigs to secure the large leaf over their home. The wind howled and raindrops began to fall. Lightning flashed, illuminating the sky in a brilliant white light. Thunder boomed, shaking the ground. Ava and Beatrice huddled together under the leaf, their hearts pounding. The storm raged for hours, but the leaf held strong, protecting the ants and their home. Finally, the rain stopped. The sun peeked out from behind the clouds, casting a warm glow on the drenched garden. As the other ants emerged from their sheltered home, they saw the large leaf protecting their entrance. They realized the storm could have washed away their home if not for Ava's warning and the help of the songbird. "Ava, you saved us!" one ant exclaimed. "You were right about the storm," another admitted. Ava felt a warmth spread through her, a feeling even brighter than the sun shining on her face. The other ants gathered around, expressing their gratitude. They realized that even the smallest among them could have important ideas, and that working together was crucial for their survival. Ava, once overlooked, was now a hero. The storm had passed, leaving behind a fresh, clean scent in the air. Beatrice, her feathers slightly damp, perched on the edge of the leaf. She shared a smile with Ava. They had done it.
"We make a good team," Beatrice chirped, her voice filled with warmth.
Ava, standing tall, nodded in agreement. They had learned that even though they were different, Their unique skills and perspectives had made them stronger together. From that day on, Ava and Beatrice's friendship blossomed. Beatrice would often visit the anthill, sharing news from the sky and singing cheerful songs. Ava, in turn, would tell Beatrice stories of the bustling life within the ant colony. The other ants, inspired by Ava's courage and Beatrice's kindness, learned to appreciate the value of different perspectives. They became more observant of their surroundings and more willing to listen to each other. The garden, once a collection of individual creatures going about their own business, began to feel more like a community. The ants, the songbirds, the butterflies, and the bees all learned to live together in harmony. They shared their resources, looked out for each other, and celebrated their differences. And it all began with the unlikely friendship of a tiny ant and a kind songbird who dared to bridge the gap between their two worlds.